kyerɛw sɛ asante hemfo ka ɔmo ho a asɛm no ebetimi atetena ha me maka kyerɛw sɛ wo sɛ asante hemfo ɔmo nkasa a ɛno nkyɛ sɛ ɔmo suro wɔ bia o dabi bese sɛ mmra no so a ɛna wo bɛtie ɛne yɛ ho sɛ video bi twende a asante hemfo ɛte yɛwura president wɔ ne fa asante ho na me mede ka kyerɛw sɛ president John Dramani Mahama ɛne NDC aban ɔmo plan no mo tiri mo pa na wɔ mo tiri mu no ɔmo sɛ menim ɛkwan ɔmo pɛ sɛ asante na ɔmo tan no sɛ deɛ na ɔmo pɛ sɛ ɔmo yɛ I don't know ba ne nyina akyi no enkosi hwee efi sɛ menim deɛ nti a yɛyi was a chieftaincy minister ne chieftaincy minister no wukuro mu kura na ahensɛm wɔ hɔ no wantimi anka wukuro mu hene wontimi classify wɔ no aso ayi ɛbono hene na wotimi kɔgyina hɔ ka sɛ obi kuro mu hene yɛboro nyina awura ɛhene deɛ a na sɛ minister na mudi no ɛyɛ politics na mudi mudi wurawura ahensɛm mu mudi wurawura ahensɛm mu wobi bono ho asafa amane sɛ wɔgye wɔ hene wabra wɔnye wɔ hene yɛte hanipa ne bono ho asamane so wɔyɛ wɔ hene wɔgye wɔ hene yaka aka akokɔ aka baabi a wo sɛ kɔ akokɔ still na sɛ nipa no parade no ho so wɔyɛ wɔ hene no mo sɔre na mama ne national securities mama na hobambo no wɔde nam ne de wɔyɛ wɔ hene na yɛgye na tum no na moto na mo yɛ nsɛm a nsɛm fata ne se mo menya hu se NDC aban na woso ani ne hu ministers ni nyina na se tukotoko hene ehu ye mochi ye beka because asam ne hu no fall away ne hu ne se mo menya gye tum se asante hene ehu ye mo hene se gofo bi betena se omo ye campaign amamo ene bo hye na mo hye wo mo no omo se mo betimi ni tanipa no ebe oto ba ne ma wa mo betimi ni obetimi ni asante hene ayepo se mo gye asante hene tum so de ama no odwene ho awonte ase wojo ha wonte ase na nsɛm ni kwase kɔso aban ɛsɛkyere ka kyerɛ nipa sɛ de wo yɛ ne nyɛ gyan aban sɛkyere ka kyerɛ nipa ne sɛ da bi wo hwɛ bono so wontimi wo bono no onya na wo hwɛ so wo yɛ soma fo de ma wo mu for gazette ahensɛm wontimi anka na kɔ baabi foforo ɛna wo dan no ɛno nkyerɛ sɛ burukuro ne nyinaa wɔ yɛwura bɛka ne baako wabɛka ne mienu still na de woman na womu chieftaincy minister timi akotena saka sunya asem efa sunya hene ne sunya hema edi omu firi sunya ne ekotena nkran se woka sunya asem ba Sampahene onka ho asem na wobi no fa akuro na bone bo se yenukuro en wote kuro ne mu woku nipa ena na wobi ne dema no akoyi no waku no obi dema no akoyi no na na kofisura no di hene no wo fa ase musi yakoyi yaku no ni enya justice bia gadress anema we ni enya president man ne meka ho asem na mebe me sira bika ho sa bokunto kwana no hene ba ko na ye kye no eri ni tum no se wanya hene no na woyi ni ho na mo kyi ni tum no wono se modua ye nipa kye na ase mo se di kaka se modua we nipa kye sa wo hene no president ami ate asese nipa ya gazette no na ye wo hene de yadi na tuma afa mamra ni amane kwaso ya gazette na ye hene na moto na mo hihya wo echi ni mabodwa na wo hene kase na wono yagi na tum se wo ye paramount chief no wo ho na wono na wonyo hene ni ato yensa afra na wonya baabi ntina na wote wo na mo piapia na watra so enam se wo kwa asantinti enam se asante no wo ko hwanti no eniemehunu ena ekoso yenya president bia ma ne nkan se de wo ye no wonse kyere kan kyere wo mu enu nenne asante hemfo aba abontene abusua na hit na no wodren bese se ba ena ejo na na se majefa se na se tukotoko hene kan wo be kodu kurom wo ko dine hene sa asante hene na wo wie na wo de sa ne ma we nyina hyehye wo sa na ye jelu na wo ko 2 years 3 years ba ehwo na wo be hu se eye pa Some would be at the chronomu, who may message and the corner catch them, bring region minister to chronomu, and this summer was away. As security man crofwa, Omonya hemfo, and yenny may be a request for moye, Yabuko, yase, still not a moyana moye. Still not a moye, let's ask Sante, and who you mohi, Sani Ebejatum. Send us to go to Kohlecasama. I am a time. Nessa constitution or the canasam, and as an instant Nana, or an instant you can be a sikaja, and it tum you could turn in intino. What to be a demo over 10 if we say. What canoe, but a mamma money and a black one's one. na ka moto ho ansem hu saa ye ka me wasipi ye ka me na sipi sa aban kɔ aban beba aban kɔ aban ba jeje Lawrence kura na ono de se 19 years 17 years stand be corrected ono kwa na aban ne tukoi na nte se wa wo kɔ 4 years ni yakase Edward mani Mahama anya bibia ono ani ministers ne hemfofo ne bi ene wo mum se min ayi politics na politicians o makɔ che hemfofo ne chi no ede anungwase na bebre no amuda se yete am se sa modua emre ne beso na sama jafra obedi ne hebo so ya yenkutie asante hemfo reply no response bi a omodiama asante hene ayaka ne sem omodiama Edward mani Mahama yeba ha
nananom aye ena oto aso we hunti ndc aban airtime papa yani oko ni kromu a regional minister Timika Chense wonye safe mano na obi a onso aye the imposter onu mom no mabo no ho ba manako enti ne pese ebusa ne se ndc aban asanteman na motan anase mumumra if it's a Ghana constitution na can play say nia ya gazette no ena wo se aban ne tanechi na mo we di aban na kwa akotai nia oye imposter nechi ena nipa kum ara wo se mo e won kra ne se nana Kofi no ni nana baako a oye the Sampa traditional council member omo ba menhia kodu ya machi na kuku no Alhaji Abdullahi omo ba menhia omo kokoduru ye BBC ye okotro na no asem police station na police fu animo na etutrafo a omo wo sa modua enchen abeche no ato abobo ye no mako twanti anyema ekoso no ni epese ndi isi aban ye dia disre dia to mampani ma anim ti ase ne say JJ Rollins 20 nya fa asante antofo JJ Rollins a obekura to me 19 years when tini entry and fa asante so say mo yes say dia then you have been unfair to the Mamprusis because ni koso oboku a ye kochi Mamprusi ohini na ye gazette no mo si ye gazette no ni ye gazette no na mo bo ne ho ban mo kochi ni ye gazette no na ekoba ni sa Dr. Baumia no mo tani ti no mo kochi Mamprusi hina ana yesre omampani Mahama se ono de ye nim se yera asante hene de na num asem de ko beso ana pakem ba se oya ma akoda bedem yesre no se omo pese omo declare se abane ne asante bekoko omo kam yehu efse ne yakoso Sampahene ye mema chen omo missionaries omo de ba kunkum nipa no mintimi ntena kumasi anka se kumasi ado Sampahene ye meda menna womo yesa de ni nyina allegedly yesi Alhaji bi ono ne NDC zongo caucus buno chairman onu ne kofa missionary se be kunkum nipa no oti atasuma so ya kumase mo yesa de we se nana samba jafra nkrofo so ka no ho a omampanyin die ne besie omampanyin Mahama de nka o papa ne Sampahene ena muntaka Minister of Interior wode Dagomba Asante ni Dagomba ye baako Asante ayewuye na saa niema we nyine chi na se motimi ma police ya chi obi na order from above obi a wakokum nipa ni ejano so we are calling on President Mahama yesre no omo di ewudie recently a omo call na Samba Jafra fie ko se niema no they should arrest them na mi huni enti a samodua ne nam ho omonchi no so omonchi samodua de a say do abagri I stand to be corrected ya na Mamprusi hina owoboko no a omokochi no then they have not been fair to him because Musi he has not been gazetted Samba your friend say ya samodua yen gazette no eso ne nam hofri e no odi nsem e no okum nipa yes Roman Panyini Mahama fa onesi fom na se JJ Rollins kura 19 years esun ya 4 years ete ya yesre yempese nie ekoso no ye bekeka ye ho once a Osama Sampahene no yenso betimi di mema efi Kumasi akoko and nobody can stand us ni omo ye no we can do times 10 But fortunately, there was Sampahene oye nyansani, oye badwemma, okura komapa, okasa ne ma etie. Enti yesre mampanyini se, nia ekoso wo Sampa no, onfa ne nansi fom. Na Asante aye bi ama no. Onkai ni Asante aye ama no. Yenka so onye bi ma ne mroso, ne mom omma Ghana mra enye adwuma medamasi. Security establishment of the state. The question before us is simple but profound. If laws, judicial decisions, customary procedures, and constitutional establishment institutions can be ignored at will, what then remains of the rule of law? A nation governed by men instead of laws is a nation walking a dangerous path. The institution of chieftaincy predates the modern Ghanaian state. It is protected by the constitution, governed by the established customary practice, and regulated through the lawful mechanism designed to preserve peace, order, and legitimacy. Yet, despite these safeguards, there have been a persistent attempt by the public officials working in concert with elements within the security services to interfere with the law customary and the legal proceedings concerning the selection, installation, recognition, and administration of traditional leaders. Our such disturbing example concerns the Sampa traditional area in the Bono region. Following due customary constitution and established tradition procedure, the Sampahene Nana Samba Jafra II, duly selected, installed as a chief, the individual subsequently fulfilled all customary obligations, performs the requisite traditional rite, and swore the oath of allegiance before His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu da Sampahene and the President of the Sampahene Council. Therefore, the chief was lawfully gazetted and officially recognized by the state as a legitimate occupant of the Sampa Traditional Council. It did not, despite the completion of all lawful, customary, and statutory process. A rival claimant has emerged to challenge the stool without lawful authority and without the legitimacy conferred by the establishment, tradition, and legal framework. Even though disturbing our report suggesting that a certain government officials and elements within the security agencies have extended support, whether directly or indirectly, to this unlawful claim. If true, such conduct represents a direct assault on the authority of illegal recognized institutions and dangerous affront to the constitutional principles upon which this republic is founded. The consequences of such actions are not theoretical, they are real, they are painful, and they are costing lives. Recent reports indicate that misunderstandings arising from this dispute have allegedly led by a tragic killing of Alfred Kofi, the grandson of the Nana Kofi, Sampa Traditional Council, and Alhaji Abdullah, in a broad daylight in Sampa. Both individuals are believed to have been associated with the camp of the gazetted chief. These are not merely statistics, where these human beings, they are equally troubled by the actions that appear inconsistently with the public seated position of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. The President has consistently affirmed that government does not determine who becomes a chief. Only duly installed and gazetted chiefs whose names appear in the National Register of Chiefs are recognized by the state. Chieftaincy dispute must be resolved through the Judicial Committee of the House of Chiefs, and where the necessary, the Supreme Court. The principles are not optional. They are the bedrock of the lawful governance in matters of chieftaincy. They cannot be selectively applied. They cannot be ignored. They cannot be sacrificed for political convenience. Respectfully message to all the stakeholders: the law must be allowed to work. The Constitution must to be respected. The authority of duly gazetted chief must be protected by the state. Political interference in chieftaincy matters cease immediately. Accordingly, we call on His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama to intervene decisively and ensure that all ministers, regional ministers, metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives, political appointees, and public officials refrain from the referring in the chieftaincy matters and strictly respect the constitutional and legal framework governing traditional leadership. Security agencies to remain neutral, professional, and faithful to their constitutional mandate by the upholding the law without fear or favor, and refusing to be drawn into the matters that properly belongs before competent traditional and judicial authorities. Relevant state institutions to recognize, protect, and uphold the authority of duly gazetted chiefs, and to ensure that no individual acting outside the law is permitted to undermine the legal establishment traditional authorities. The National and the Regional House of Chiefs to continue exercising their constitutional mandate fearlessly and independently in the resolution of chieftaincy dispute. The Ghanaian public to remain vigilant and insist that the rule of the law prevail over political influence and personal interest and unlawful interference. Ladies and gentlemen, our position is not motivated by politics. No. It is motivated by our unwavering commitment to peace, justice, constitutional order, and preservation of dignity of Ghana traditional institutions. We have exercised restraint. We have chosen peace. We have respected the lawful process. But let it be known that our commitment to peace should never be mistaken for acceptance of injustice. Our patience should never be interpreted as surrender of illegality. And all our silence should never be construed as consent to the erosion of the rule of law. As loyal subject of His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, we remain committed to pursuing justice through the lawful, constitutional, and peaceful means. However, we will not continue to speak boldly whenever the integrity of our traditional institutions, the authority of lawful process, and the peace of our communities are threatened. Today, we call all government officials, security agencies, traditional authorities, and stakeholders to rise above partisanship, respect the law, honor the customs, and allows the legitimate institution to discharge their own constitution and traditional responsibilities without interference. The future of our nation depends on how the power of individuals, but on the supremacy of rule of law. Let lawful authority prevail. Let justice prevail. Let peace be preserved. And let Ghana remain a nation governed by the law, not influenced. Thank you very much.